Ba weep grana weep nitty bong. I'm Engineer Hoist, and welcome to the Transformers Earth Wars news stream here on my channel. We're here every Wednesday at 8 p.m. And just to let you know, we've got a new way of streaming. YouTube changed their controls. Hopefully everything is working well. And so we'll just go with it, and I'm assuming that everybody's here and got the notifications and is coming in the way they're supposed to. Let's go ahead and say hi. We've had a lot of people already in the chat. We've got Optimus Prime, Stealth Plays, Wreckin' Rule 21, Woody, Dojak, Grand Galvatron, Pete Francis Jr., Dragonborn, Hotshot Potato Man, Sephiroth is here, Maddie, Gen 1 Red Alert, Big D, and lots of other people. I can't scroll back that far. You guys have been here for a while and chatting a lot. Lightning Striker, good to see everybody. And let's go ahead and get to the news, shall we? This weekend's event is called the Operative. Take part in this weekend's event to win up to 3,000 Prime Core shards, 30 toolboxes, and 30,000 Spark. It is an individual event. It starts and ends at the usual Friday and Monday start and stop times. If you've been playing the game a while, you know what times that those are. There are 30 prestiges, and it's triple XP this weekend. It's basically the same as all of the other Prime Core events that we've had. In fact, it's exactly the same as the last one. I hardly had to change these slides at all. So to participate, you have to be headquarters level 4. You do not have to be in an alliance because it is an individual event. You tap that event button, you select the battle zone that you want, win your battle to get points, and then you collect your prizes. The battle zones, as with all of the other Prime Core events, are the flat battle zones. It is 10 points per zone regardless of which zone you go into, so this is an excellent time to be power leveling with just a few bots, so you could actually drop a few zones to get to be able to power level and not have to worry about not scoring as many points. So that's very, very good. I do kind of like these events here. And the totalizer prizes, each prestige, you have a chance to win 100 Prime Core shards, 1 toolbox, and 1,000 Spark. About every 10 points, you're going to win a prize. On average, you're going to score about 9 points per battle. So if you want to do the math to see how many battles you got to do, I always like to use 9 points per battle to calculate that up. So Peter Atwood saying the audio is good. Thank you for that. I was hoping that we get a little bit of feedback, and there may be some more stuff in there too that I haven't seen since I've been delivering the news. The toolbox rewards is the same as what was in the toolbox before. You can win 500 premium shards, 100 4-star shards, 150 3-star shards, or you could win a white, blue, red, or purple Kremzik. So that's it for the event. The big news, as you saw on the thumbnail, is that we've got some new bots coming to the game. You knew that. And we finally get to see them, the actual official artwork, not just the preview artwork that we saw last week, and also learn about their ability. So first up is for the Autobots, it is Punch. Now, if you notice with this new artwork, they did actually fix the shoulders to be more accurate, like the Power of the Primes figure that we have here. We talked about it last week, where they showed the shoulders were a little splayed out, similar to the Decepticon version. They have actually brought those in to be more like the figure. And his bio reads as follows. Punch walks a tightrope, balancing his own somewhat paranoid persona with that of his hair trigger alter ego, Counterpunch. Though outwardly he seems calm and in control, Punch is a tightly wound ball of insecurities, doubts, and fears, certain that any moment he'll be exposed as a double agent. Punch minutely measures his words, judging when to speak, if at all, and how much to say. Nevertheless, there's a stoic and grim determination about him to see the job through, no matter what the personal cost to Punch's immortal spark. Very cool. Very cool. I do like that. Now, the interesting thing is the bio for Counterpunch. So, let's get to that. So complete is Punch's masquerade. His alter ego Counterpunch is as much a Decepticon as the most committed and zealous of Megatron's acolytes. A talented actor with chameleon-like instinct, Counterpunch is every inch the merciless and violent character he purports to be. The deception is sometimes so complete he actually deceives himself, believing that Counterpunch is the real him and Punch the faction-flipped creation. It allows Counterpunch to indulge his darker instinct with impunity, and though thus far he has remained loyal to the Autobots, many have cause to wonder whose cause he truly serves. Now that's very cool, because if you remember our discussion about them last week, I talked about one of the most recent stories from the Transformers Collectors Club where Counterpunch was actually damaged in battle, and to save him, the two personalities were that they could only save one of the two personalities, and the Counterpunch personality was the strongest of the two. And we'll get back to this in a little bit, because I've got a few figures to show off, not just the one that this is based on. I've got a handful of Counterpunch figures. So there we go. Their ability is called the Covert Operation. Now it's pretty cool. The little symbol there, half of the face is half of the the head there is the Punch face, and the other half is the Counterpunch face, and that's pretty cool. And they say you go undercover for 10 seconds and throw EMP grenades at defenses, dealing damage over time and disabling them for some seconds. So now that's interesting. That it'll be interesting to see how that all works out, because it sounds like whichever bot that you have, he may in fact transform to the other bot and then walk through the defenses and hand out EMP grenades to all the defenses, kind of like Oprah giving out cars. You get an EMP grenade, you get an EMP grenade, So that would be interesting to see if that's actually what they do. I believe we should be getting the bots for testing here. But they have told us that we should be getting them soon, although we're not allowed to show them off at the moment, so I haven't actually seen it in action. But hopefully next week we should be able to actually see these guys in game, in the test environment at least, to be able to see what they do. But it sounds like they may actually be one bot and then transform to the other bot, Punch transform to Counterpunch and vice versa for this ability. So that would be very cool to see. And the way that they designed these bots, it seems like that's what it will be doing. Another bit of news, which is kind of new. I believe they talked about this last week during the live stream. I wasn't able to catch that, and I didn't catch the replay either, but I did hear a little bit about it. It's called G-Metal. It's apparently a new power core level, which is higher than gold even. So, and here's a couple of images of the bot and the defense power core chips of the G-Metal level. So that's pretty neat. And G-Metal is a new rarity of power cores, entirely more powerful than bronze, silver, and even gold. Power cores of this tier can be obtained by two means. Either both bot G-Metal chip and building G-Metal chip will be available to buy in the shop using Prime Core shards. This is the same crystal shop. We'll see a picture of that in a moment. And there's also a small chance to obtain a random G-Metal power core from a duplicate 4-star bot. So similar to how sometimes the 2-star bot will give you a silver core, or a 3-star bot will give you a gold core, every now and then a duplicate 4-star bot could at some point give you a G-Metal core. So that's pretty cool. Now, G-Metal level cores are currently available for all of the cores that we have at the moment, except for the time-limited cores, obviously. The XP core and the Golden Lagoon core, they just come at one level only. Well, I guess the XP core does have bronze, silver, and gold. Golden Lagoon cores are obviously only gold, and so you could get the Volatile Mixture or Death Pulse or flak jacket, and I imagine even the G1 cores you should be able to get at a G metal level, and those do have a maximum level of 20. And G metal cores, they say, go live tomorrow at some point with a content push. So this is what they're going to do because for all of the Prime Core events, because some people who've been able to get every last Prime Core that's been available are almost done collecting all of the 12 Prime Cores there, but not everybody has gotten to that point. So they still need to have Prime Core shard events. So to keep those people interested who will have collected all of the Prime Core shards, they needed to have something else for them to spend their Prime Cores on, and these G Metal Cores are what they've come up with. And I think that's actually pretty cool because it's still a strong power core, so it's right kind of in line with the Prime Cores, which are the most powerful power cores in the game, except it's not special uses like the Prime abilities. It's just standard power cores, but just a stronger level. And so here's a shot of them actually in the crystal shop. This may be where they actually place them. It may change too, so I wouldn't necessarily keep this as gospel, but it's a pretty good idea. It'll probably be located right there next to the Prime Core chip, where you could choose to get a Prime Core or either of the two bot or G Metal chips. So the nice thing is you can choose whether you want a bot one or a building one, and then of course it will be random depending on once you actually go open it. So you can choose a bot and you can get any of the bot ones, or you can choose a building and you can get any of the building ones. Now, the interesting thing about this is, even if you don't have all of the Prime Cores, I imagine you could still actually spend your Prime Core shards on one of these G Metal chips if you choose. Me personally, I'm going to keep collecting all of the Prime Cores before I start going and spending Shanix on the G Metal chips, and I'll just cross my fingers that I'll get one drop when I get a duplicate 4-star. So that's pretty cool. Now, where did G Metal come from? There's got to be some kind of Transformers history for it. So I didn't know. It was completely new to me, so I went looking, and I found on the Transformers wiki, tfwiki.net. If you're interested, that's where you can find out anything you want to know about Transformers. But G Metal is a rare substance found on the planet Master. Virtually indestructible, it was targeted by Scorponok to use in the creation of a shield that could repel the Master Sword, which was wielded by Fortress Maximus in the Headmasters cartoon, which was a Japanese exclusive cartoon, which was basically a continuation of the American G1 cartoon. So there you go. So that's where the G Metal came from. So there is some Transformers lore behind that, and I thought that was pretty interesting and wanted to share that with you guys. So, alrighty. What's going in the chat? Guys, behave in the chat. Don't make me kick anybody. Alrighty. All right. Yeah, no mentioning of ages, guys. Especially if you're, a minor. Just don't. Just be kind to each other and play nice and things like that. So. Okay, moving back on to the news. We do have a new defense building, and some people were. We've seen this before, and it's coming soon. The Combiner Beacon. It was originally thought to be maybe the Combiner Outpost. A lot of people have talked about it as Combiner Outpost, but they're actually calling it a Combiner Beacon. And I don't have a lot of slides on how to work this because I believe it's been covered on the stream already, and I probably will actually be. I might actually do another video on this as well. So Yeah, so basically, it is essentially a combiner outpost. You can assign a combiner to defend your base. You can choose one of the abilities for the combiner, and it's available for once you're at HQ 16. And if you're already at HQ 16, this also will go live tomorrow at some point, about the same time as the G Metal cores will. And it charges similar to the shield generator, except instead of alloy for the shield generator, you use ore 13 to charge the combiner beacon. And I believe you can actually double up the charge. So it would normally be active for 24 hours. You could actually have it be active for 48 hours by throwing a little more ore 13 at it. Now, any bot that you have in an active combiner beacon that's charged is not available to use in a battle. So that's going to be something to think about. Say Volcanicus is your favorite bot to use in a battle like me. I wouldn't want to put Volcanicus in my combiner beacon because then I wouldn't be able to use him in battle. So you're going to have to think about that, which is different than the normal outpost, because you can have a bot in the outpost and still use them in battle and not be affected. The combiners is not going to work that way. If you have a combiner in the beacon or in the outpost, you cannot then use it in battle. So there you go. And the last little bit is that there is no official Transformers Earth Wars stream tomorrow, but then it will be next week on Thursday on the official Transformers YouTube channels on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. Alrighty, guys. So here is Punch. And I saw somebody say, yeah, in the game, he doesn't have the yellow shoulders there, and that's fine. He also doesn't have the red hands, but it's still, you can still tell it's Punch. And of course, if you were to turn him around, you're going to see Counterpunch. So like I was saying about the Transformers Collectors Club, where they actually had a subscription service figure where that was just Counterpunch. I've got that guy right here, as long as I don't drop him. So there he is. You can see. Interestingly, they did keep the yellow shoulders like he was Punch, but he just does have the Counterpunch head. Now this is actually a repaint with a remolded head of the Combiner Wars Wheeljack figure, but yeah, so this is just Counterpunch. This doesn't turn into Punch. Even within the story, he is just Counterpunch. The other one that I have to show off to you is this guy, and this is why I'm very happy to see Punch and Counterpunch in the game. This is the G1 Punch Counterpunch. That I had this guy since 1986, and so that's him in the vehicle mode. And we can go ahead and transform him. He should be okay and not break. So yeah, you just pull that out, kind of flip this around, push that forward, and that's his legs all done. You flip these out and around, and then you kind of get in there. We get the hands out. And there are the red fists. And open up the back, flip up the head. Easier said than done on camera. And there is G1 Punch. So you can see he's got the yellow chest and the shoulders are yellow. He's got the red fists, and there is the head. Very good looking head sculpt. Looks just like the new one. And here's a comparison of them next to each other. The colors are slightly different, but I mean, these could be just changed due to aging. To transform him into Counterpunch, you just put these fists back in. You flip the shoulders up and twist them around. You turn them around. You flip down the feet. And then you pull down the other arms. He's got a completely separate set of arms on this G1 figure here. And you can actually open up the chest to flip up the Decepticon symbol. And then the last thing is to flip the head. So there is Counterpunch, G1 Counterpunch. Oh yeah, you can kind of split the legs a little bit to get a little bit of a separation, even though he does have the bars in there. But yeah, so there is your G1 Counterpunch. So you can see that they actually are very true to the G1. And we'll go ahead and get this guy transformed too. He's a little bit easier to transform because for him, you just kind of change the front around and kind of flip the head. And yeah, you can flip the arms around too, or the hands around too, but I don't feel like doing that right now. So there you go. So there is the Power of the Primes Counterpunch and the G1 Counterpunch, looking pretty spot on, if you ask me. And of course, we will be seeing these guys in the game looking like this guy here pretty soon. I want to say next week, but it may not be exactly next week. So, yeah. Alrighty. All right. Are we still having problems? Is that? Let me see the chat. Are you still having problems there? All right. So behave, guys. I don't want to have to ban anybody. Okay, so Grand Gavatron said, what are the thoughts on Smokescreen getting killed in the event? Did he get killed in the event? Oh yeah, that last event he did. I don't. It certainly seemed like he might have been killed. Was it actually confirmed that he was killed in the event? I know they actually shot him or kind of stabbed him, but wasn't it like Counterpunch actually kind of went up and actually did something to him? Because they did say that he still remains loyal to the Autobots, so they may have just made it appear that he was killed. So he may have come up and actually kind of tased him or something to make it appear like he was killed, to put on a show for the other Decepticons who were clearly watching. So maybe. So he may not actually be dead. Yeah, he got shot in between the eyes. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I know you guys are saying the voice is a little out of sync. It's weird because it's kind of out of sync on my screen here too. So I don't know why that happened. Maybe I've got too much stuff running on the computer, and the whole new stream thing with YouTube kind of got me a little out of sorts, I guess. And so we're just gonna press on, I guess, and move on. So. Bludgeon's quote says, calmly executed Smokescreen right between the optics. Yeah, but who calmly executed Smokescreen? Did Bludgeon calmly execute Smokescreen? Or did Counterpunch calmly execute Smokescreen? Because Bludgeon may have witnessed that he did that and assumed that he executed Smokescreen. Alright. Alrighty. Bye-bye, Ender. That's what you get. Okay, so Woody is asking me a very good question, and I've got some thoughts on this. He's saying, what are your thoughts on Zeta Toys Unicron versus the Haslab Unicron? It's an interesting topic. I think that Zeta Unicron looks fantastic, and the way that they actually go and take all those panels and turn them around and incorporate that as um, part of the robot mode is actually very cool, and is very similar to what they did with this DX9 and Unique Toys kind of did with this last night Hot Rod, and they did something with the lockdown, the Peru kill. They did a very similar thing where they took all the car parts, basically flipped them around, and put it up against the bot to hide the car parts and expose robot parts. So it's very cool that they actually did something like that, and honestly, I think that's really cool. I'm still staying with the Haslab Unicron because it's huge and it's big, and I always tend to favor the official product over the third party when there is an option, because Hasbro started everything. Without Hasbro, we wouldn't have any of this. So even though I may have, I've got this third party Hot Rod, but you know what? I've got the Hasbro version of him as well too. That's what I do. I'm not going to fault anybody else who's going to say, well, you know what? I like Zeta better. I'm going to go get Zeta. Okay, that's fine. It's smaller. It's going to be cheaper, and that's fine if it fits your budget more, because there are going to be some people who would love to have the Hasbro one and can't afford it. But now Zeta comes out. It's kind of odd to say that a third-party version is going to be more affordable for people, because it's usually the exact opposite. But if that works out and lets more people have a nice-looking Unicron on their shelf, then great. I do think some people are kind of overlooking some of the things from Zeta that just because they're so hateful to the Hasbro one. First of all, it is cartoon accurate, and they're saying, oh yeah, look at the colors. The colors are great on there. There's no colors shown by Zeta yet. The colored ones that you see out there are from a fan who digitally added the colors in. Those aren't exactly the colors of Zeta, so Zeta can mess up the colors just as much as Hasbro did. Well, and I don't think they messed them up. Honestly, I think they look good. And a lot of people are saying, oh, look at the colors that are in the movie. Well, it's been 30 some years since that movie came out. The colors that we're getting may be the colors that were intended, and the colors just didn't age on the film. I don't know. So there's all kinds of criticisms and things like that, one way or another, that may not be actually accurate. And I think a lot of it is people just saying, I can't afford it, so I'm going to slam on this thing so I can talk myself out of, to keep myself from feeling bad because I can't have it, is what it says. Now the criticisms about there being a lot of kibble hanging off and stuff like that, that's fair. I'm not going to argue that one because it's true. But even Zeta, it has got this little collar thing. And I don't like the way that collar looks. I mean, it's not a deal breaker. It wouldn't stop me from getting it if I wanted to. But I don't like the collar thing. And honestly, I don't care if that's true to the cartoon or not. It looks stupid. So there's one thing about, okay, yeah, you got to be true to the cartoon or movie or whatever. But at the same time, it's got to look good on the shelf. That collar thing, it kind of breaks it up for me, because at first people were saying, it's like, why does he have the abs on the back? Ha ha ha. But then they looked at the shots from the movie and it's like, oh yeah, Unicron does have that. But same thing like with the collar. There was one shot where it looked like he may have a collar around his head or whatever. I don't care. I think it looks dumb. I'd rather not have it. So just give me a clean head and shoulders there. So, it's one of those. I'm sure that it was something that's like, yeah, but he's got it in the cartoons. Yeah, but it looks dumb. I don't care. It's in the cartoons, so we're having it on our toy, so people don't criticize it. So, and then there was a video out there of somebody transforming it, which was amazing to see how it transformed. But there were parts falling off here and there and trying to pull the legs off. I hope there's a prototype. I hope they work out the tolerances to make those legs come off a little bit easier, because he had like 3 parts fly all over the place or whatever. So the Zeta toy is not flawed. People are just happy to see that there's an alternative to the Hasbro one, which is expensive, and it does have the kibble issue. So lot of thoughts, and I'm not going to fault anybody one way or the other. I'm definitely going to stay on with the Hasbro one, hoping it gets funded, because I'd love to see that thing, and just the size of it just it's going to be great to see wherever I put it. I have no idea even right now, but I've got a year and a half to figure it out. But yeah, so those are my thoughts on Zeta versus Hasbro. I think they both look good, and it's good that there's options. But guys, quit bashing the other one. Quit, if you don't like it, that's fine. Other people do, let them. So I mean, it's okay to say you dislike something or whatever, but don't say somebody's wrong for liking it. I guess and that's true for anything. Not just the Unicron drama or whatever. I mean, if you dislike something, that's fine, but don't fault somebody else for liking it, because everybody's got different likes. Yeah. Woody with a good eye again. So you saw a new Star Saber over here. That is the Planet X Cadmos. And you can see he's standing there next to the Planet X Deathsaurus, because those guys were meant to be together. I actually did put up a shot of him on my Instagram, believe it or not, which did propagate also to my Facebook and Twitter. And that would be right down here somewhere. It's kind of hard when I've got a delay on my own thing. You can check at Engineer Hoist on Instagram or Twitter. I don't post a whole lot there, but I did post that guy because, man, he looks great. And I don't know if y'all noticed my new behind-the-scenes camera back over here, too. But, yeah, so there he is. Very cool figure. This is more of the IDW design as opposed to the G1 design, which is the guy behind me. And the one in the game is based on this guy behind me. But I am so happy with this figure. And I actually like how he's got the kind of the articulation allows him to kind of hold the sword the way that I have him doing that. And it's pretty cool. He does have the little guy in his chest that can actually come out and transform, even though it wasn't actually shown here in the... so it wasn't actually shown in the comics that this guy was based on, that he had a smaller guy in there, but... All right, Ender, don't come back with another don't come back with another account when you get banned the first time, dude. That's not cool. Does he have a butterfly joint? He does. That's how I've got him managed to hold the. He's actually holding the sword with one hand, and the other hand is just kind of wrapped around the other one. He doesn't have the ability that I could find where he could hold it like this. So I just have him holding the sword with one, and the other one is just kind of tucked in front of the other one. And it works pretty good. Yeah, that's Refractor back there. So I do have the G1 color, the toy color one. That set, I do have that on order, and I'm just waiting for my stack to hit the appropriate price so I can get free shipping from TS Source. But I do have it there, so yeah, Reflector's spying. Refractor, same dude. William Wilkinson, yes, you're welcome. I hope that helped you out. Big bronze rim. Oh yeah, you showed off. You got the MP44. Pretty amazing. Yeah, I've seen some videos of that, and yeah, there's definitely some people complaining about paint chipping and all that. And it's one of those things where your mileage may vary. More people are going to, just in general, more people are going to complain about problems than they are about things that they like. Generally, so just because you hear a lot of complaints about paint chipping doesn't necessarily mean it's a widespread problem, but it could be. I don't know, but and it is very complex I was watching a transformation video from T-Man976. It actually made the comment, did they hire Bad Cube designers? Because he is complex. Anybody who's familiar with the toys from Bad Cube, they are known for being complex figures. But he definitely looks pretty cool in. Let's see, Big Bronze Rib saying he's better than Transform Element, but not sure if he's $300 better. Well, here's the thing about the $300, and this is one. First of all, the reason I didn't end up going for MP44 is because I'm happy with my MP10. That's the biggest thing. If I didn't have MP10, I'd have been right on board with MP44. But the thing that irks me sometimes about some of these figures, and it raises the price of them, because how much was he? Like $300. The figure itself was probably maybe $150, and then all the other accessory stuff is another $150. It's like, do we really need Sparkplug, Spike, and Carly? Do we really need all of these Starscream head and stuff like that? Those are cool accessories, yes. You know what? But 99% of those, people are going to do it once, take a picture, put it in the box, and never do it again because they're going to display the guy in robot mode on the shelf. I mean, you could even say the same thing about a trailer. My MP10, I got the Hasbro one. It came with the trailer and roller and all the other accessories, the axe and the gun, and I've got him sitting on the shelf by himself, just like I have Goldemus Prime back over there. I mean, I guess the trailer's there, but it's just taking up space. So $450 from distributors, okay, yeah. So maybe a $200. Maybe $300 toy, $150 in accessories or something like that. So it's crazy, So it's. I mean, even kind of like was it Beast Wars Megatron? It was not terrible, but I mean, it came with the toothbrush. Something like that would be cool. I don't see that raising the price that much, but some things are just they go a little overboard with the accessories. And it's like, okay, that's cool, but or even like Masterpiece Inferno came with that little piece where you could a separate chest piece for Inferno where you could have him holding Red Alert for all of those that happened one time in that one episode. Accessories they're cool, but it's just it raises the price, when it doesn't really necessarily need to be. But I agree with you. I'm a sucker for official. I like I said earlier about the Unicron thing, I buy official every time possible, and will only get third party generally if I already have the official, if there is that option. So you got all the Datsun Bros standing on his trailer. Yeah, I did that at one point. I've got a little more shelf space for my Masterpiece, although for all of the Masterpiece that I had at the time when I put the shelf up, so I didn't really need to do that. It's kind of in a corner, so I kind of tucked the trailer back in a corner there, so it's not really taking any. But when I had just a handful, I had just a handful of the Datsun Bros, maybe a Sideswipe and Prime, and that might have been it. So yeah, I did have same thing. I had the Datsun Bros on the trailer. And if anybody doesn't know who we're talking about, the Datsun Bros, that's Prowl, Blue Streak, and Smokescreen, because they are Datsun Fairlady Z vehicles. A blaster toy that could play music cassettes would be awesome. Oh, dude, now you're getting into lights, not just lights and sounds. You're getting into motors and stuff like that. That kind of a toy would probably be $1,000, and $900 of it would be because of the accessories in there. No. So yeah, it would be cool, but there was actually like a, what do they call it, device label Soundwave that was like an MP3 player or something back there, a few years ago. So there was something like that. Red Alert saying, I'll take any figures if I don't have room for more. We'll talk. I am putting quite a few in some bins, so I'd be happy to share some with you. do a video of my entire collection. I want to do that, but my entire collection is kind of in a shambles. And over the past few weeks, I've been slowly going through, catching up on inventorying my collection, because I do keep an inventory. I try to keep get pictures of them and write down different information about them for insurance purposes, but also just so I can kind of go look back and admire. Really, it's like, okay, how many Optimus Prime figures do I have? Oh, I've got like 89. I don't know if that's a true number or not, but so that's kind of what I've been doing, trying to get caught up on that, because as much as I keep telling myself, when a figure comes in, immediately throw it in the inventory, it inevitably I get 6 months behind, and it takes me a couple weeks to actually get it all in and say, I'm never going to let that happen again. And then I immediately let it happen again for another 6 months. But also, while I'm doing this, I'm also kind of going through a reorganization, because I had a whole bunch of Combiner Wars figures up on the shelf, and those are from like 4 years ago. Time to get those off the shelf and make room for some newer figures. But I'm keeping them in a bin because it has been handy having them, because like Defensor just recently came into the game, and there may be some other figures that they ultimately want to use Combiner Wars as the basis for, so I'm going to hang on to them so I can show them off to you guys. Fortunately, Counterpunch here was actually a pretty recent figure, just a few months ago, so he'll be out on the shelf for a little while anyway, again, because he's one of my favorite figures, mostly because of nostalgia purposes. And let's be honest, nostalgia drives a lot of this in this collecting habit, especially for the adult collectors. A lot of it's the nostalgia stuff, but not everything is. I had no idea about Star Saber or Deathsaurus up until recently, up until just a few years ago. Star Saber, I was kind of maybe heard of him. It's like, who's that? I don't care about Star Saber. Then he shows up in the game. I'm like, okay, well, this dude's pretty cool. Let me go learn about more. And now I end up having a Masterpiece Star Saber on my shelf, entirely because of this game. And then they also showed up in the comics, and I learned a little bit more. So for me, Star Saber is the IDW version of Star Saber, who is a religious zealot, not the noble leader of the Autobots in the Transformers Victory cartoon. So yeah. So Lightning Striker, thanks for stopping by. Good to have you. Do you think they will make Spike with I'm not, my mouth's not working. Spike Witwicky as a headmaster? They did for Fortress Maximus, didn't they? I know they've got Cerebros as the head, and I know Spike was the head of Cerebros. For the Titans Return Fort Max, didn't they have Spike as the Fort Max head, or the Cerebros head? I can't remember. Or did they give that some other name? I don't remember. But yeah. Big Bronze Rim saying the ability for Punch Counterpunch is a cross between Slash and an EMP boost. Yes, that's what it sounds like to me. The going undercover sounds to me like he's going to be invisible to the defense, because they're going to think he's one of them. But in the meantime, it's like, here, let me fix you, and then stun. Here, let me fix you, stun. So. Spike was, the head was Emissary. Okay, so it should have been Spike for that head. So, yeah, Daniel was RC's head, except they couldn't use Daniel, so they actually reversed the letters of Daniel for that head, or the Titans Return RC. They called it like Leonad or whatever, but if you actually reverse the letters, it spells out Daniel. So, yeah. Brandon C is IDW, and their DJD story is awesome. Yes, I would love to see the DJD in this game. Tarn and Voss, Kaon, Helix, Tessaurus. I'm collecting all of those guys, and see, there's a case where we haven't seen official versions from Hasbro, so third party is the only way to go on those. So I have been collecting the MMC version and the Iron Factory version of those, and so far we've got Tarn, Kaon, and Voss. Actually, in both MMC and Iron Factory, those are the ones that we got. Oh, and MMC also came out with Nickel and Dominus Ambus, who was the pet. So the cool thing about the Iron Factory one is they're all going to combine. Although it's interesting because Tarn actually looks like he just transforms into kind of like a part of the torso, and Kaon and Voss just transform basically into the guns. It really looks like it's going to be the Tesserus and Helix are basically going to be like parts formers that make up the majority of the combiner. But it still looks pretty cool. Now they do have the Flame Toys Tarn that came out, but that's one of those super detailed non-transforming figures that was like $500. And at the time, I was thinking, "There's no way I'm ever going to spend $500 on a Transformer figure." And then they came out with the Unicron. Made me eat my words almost immediately. Plenty of characters don't care about it. Yeah, there's so many Transformers characters. There's no way you're ever going to have them all or know them all. You think we'll ever see a Maximal combiner, something like Optimus Maximus? No, I don't think we will. There was a Beast Wars combiner. It was what, Magnaboss? It was like what, Ironhide and Prowl and Silverbolt or something like that. Back during one of like the Beast Machines or something like that. So a Beast Wars combiner is not there's precedent for it, is what I'm trying to say. But I don't think we'll see it in the game. Yeah, DJD combiner. Go look up Iron Factory DJD. Yeah, they don't have all of them out yet, but they are going to be doing. Basically, it's going to be, the combiner is basically going to be a larger Tarn, and the head of the combiner comes with the set that includes the Kaon and Voss. I don't remember the third party names. And there's a really cool Easter egg which blew my mind when I saw it, and I don't think I want to spoil it because I want to do a review on those guys, but the head for that combiner under the Tarn face, unbelievable. I had no idea they were going to do it, and it's fantastic. If you go out there and you want to spoil it for yourself and you go look up one of the reviews of that set or whatever, go ahead, do it, and you'll like it, but I'm not going to spoil it for you. Which bot do I want to see next? Hoist, obviously. But I don't know if they're. I don't know if they're not really leaning towards bringing in any more healers. So I don't really see that happen. I'm not holding my breath. I think somebody was asking if we had crystals to crack. I've got those. What were they? Informer crystals that were from the event. I don't know if you guys want to see those. I mean, it's shards or spark. Yeah, so I don't know if you guys want to. Yeah, there's some more spoilers in the chat there. Tarn's original name was Glitch, and I loved how that turned out, because if you read those comics, there was so much speculation. Who is Tarn? Who's actually Tarn? Because we knew Tarn was kind of an Autobot at some point, and then he read Megatron's writing and he became a fanatic and just completely dedicated to the cause of the Decepticons. And then he took on he wears the Decepticon face and took the name of Tarn to be the leader of the Decepticon Justice Division. But we knew he was an Autobot. But who was it? Was it Dominus Ambus? Could it have been Roller because he was missing for so long? And he did kind of have the build of Roller, and everything was leading towards that Tarn was Roller. And I knew for a fact that he was not Roller because it was too obvious, and if it turned out to be Roller, I would have been so disappointed. and it turned out it wasn't to be. And then when you actually go back and look way back in the books to the story, you can actually see how it ended up becoming glitch. And if you have a question, don't keep saying that and spamming the channel, because I will actually time you out, dude. Chill out when I'm talking. All right, timing out. Quit saying you have a question and just ask the question, okay? But when you come back after 300 seconds. But yes, everybody was suspecting Roller, but I was like, these are red herrings. There's no way it's going to be Roller. It's way too obvious. They're making everybody think it's Roller. There's no way it's going to be Roller. And then when it got revealed that it was Glitch, we're like, that makes sense, because he was an outlier, and his ability was the fact that when he touched something, it would break it. And that was actually a key point in one of the stories that was said in the past. And man, that was a great story that they did. So yeah, Red Alert, thanks for stopping by, man. You're working overnight. Oh, dude, yeah, that sucks. I've been there, so. Yeah, he had a question. Well, he can ask the question when he comes back. Let's see. I was on a roll talking about Tarn and stuff. Let's see. What bot do I think is next? What bot do I think is next? I think the next bot is going to be Punch and Counterpunch, because they're not out yet. So these guys are the next bot. I know you're asking who do we think who's going to be the next bot after this? I don't know, dude. Let's just get through this one. It's kind of like when we were speculating who the next combiner was going to be before Defensor and Abominus were even out. Let's just get through and get Punch and Counterpunch in here. We'll start seeing clues in the week after that, when they start putting out new story for the next saga, as you say. Beyond that, it's just going to be a guess. I mean, that the next bot could be Hoist. The next bot could be Omega Supreme. The next bot could be, I don't know, Erector. I mean, there's no way to tell that it could be anybody, So let's just stay hype for Punch and Counterpunch for now, dude. So, all right, Big Bronze Rim saying, I'd love to see that the DJD story as a movie. Yeah, man. I'd love to see the story behind Dominus Ambus and how he infiltrated and how they found out and ultimately became the pet, because I don't know if they ever intended to tell that story at some point, but I know they ended the book before they certainly ended the book before they could get to it, and I don't think they actually were going to get to it, because I mean, they did kind of take down the DJD at one point where Megatron took him out. So I'm not sure if that was something they were going to do. I mean, they did ultimately reveal it. So let's see. So we know Computron will be coming at some point. We don't know that. That's still just speculation. Who would be their opposite? I would say, we're speculating about combiners, but I mean, we do have Defensor and Abominus in the game now, so I guess we can go ahead and start speculating about the next one. It's probably going to be at least a year or a year and a half, so we got a long ways to go. But I'm calling it right now. The next Decepticon combiner is going to be the Seacons. It's going to be Piranacon, or they may call him King Poseidon, because they are coming out with the Seacons. Basically, some of them are already up for pre-order. We talked about this actually about a month ago, maybe. I think last time we had a Prime Core event, I actually had a bunch of toy news, and we saw them. They've got 4 of them up for pre-order on Hasbro Pulse right now. Apparently, these are basically only coming out in Japan, so they are priced as if they're imports. So they are more than the standard figure that you'd find on the shelf, and in fact, the combiner name is they're calling it King Poseidon. So they are going with the Japanese name of the combiner as opposed to the American name of Piranacon. But because those toys are coming out, I have a feeling that Hasbro will be saying to Space Ape, hey guys, when you're thinking about the next combiner, think about Piranacon and the Seacons. And as far as the Autobots go, yeah, Computron is I think the last well-known Autobot combiner team. They could certainly bring out the Sky Rain from the Combiner Wars toy line, but I would hate to see that. I mean, they already forced Optimus Maximus because of the toys, but at least that was still close to the Combiner Wars. You know, they were still on the show. I mean, the Combiners has been off the show for about 2 or 3 years now. They don't need to sell those Combiner Wars toys anymore. They're gone. They're off the shelves. They've been clearanced. They're not even at Ollie's or Ross or TJ Maxx anymore. So I don't think you'll be seeing them any pressure from Hasbro to push the Sky Rain Combiner. So Larkin's Lair, what's up, man? Good to see you. Jaden, welcome back. Okay, what's your question, dude? Go ahead. Type out your question, and I'll be happy to answer it. Yeah, Big Brother is saying nobody actually wants Skyrain. I don't think so, and that's why I don't think... The only way we'll see Skyrain is if Hasbro says, you will make Skyrain in the game. And I don't think Hasbro's going to do that. Okay, question was... Drumroll. Was Wreckage the record combiner? Yes, from the Transformers Collectors Club, Wreckage. And this Counterpunch is actually one of the bots in Wreckage. He forms the left arm of Wreckage. I actually pulled him off of Wreckage to show him off here tonight. I think Ruination was the Fall of Cybertron record combiner. So you're right on both accounts. Okay, asking who's my favorite Transformer and do I think Computron is weak? You said you had one question and that's two. I'm just kidding. My favorite Transformer is Hot Rod. Hot Rod, because I was just a big fan of the Transformers movie and I thought Hot Rod was cool, and I didn't buy into the Hot Rod got Optimus Prime killed. Optimus Prime's monologuing got him killed. Prime had a full 20 seconds from the time Megatron fell down to go and pick up his gun and go. I mean, he just kind of sauntered over to his gun, slowly reached down, picked it up, pointed it at Megatron. He had to go pull off a villain move and monologue. You know, Megatron, I thought you were made of sterner stuff. You know, that whole thing, that gave Megatron the time to get the gun. It wasn't Hot Rod jumping in front or whatever. And Prime, Mr., no matter the cost. Well, if it was no matter the cost, he'd have shot right through Hot Rod. So Prime, the monologuing bit and actually caring is what got him killed. So no, I don't blame Hot Rod. And honestly, as a 8-year-old or 9-year-old, whatever I was at the time, I wasn't thinking about that. That was adults looking back on it and just not liking Hot Rod and wanting to blame him for something. But anyway, I liked Hot Rod. I got the Hot Rod toy. I still have my G1 Hot Rod toy. Hot Rod's my favorite character. Before Hot Rod, it was Jazz. Because, come on, who doesn't like Jazz? Jazz is cool, man. Can you dig it? The other question was, do I think Computron is weak? No, Computron's pretty strong. He beat up on Abominus on more than one occasion. So yeah, Computron's pretty good. You're asking how did Computron die by Menasor, Rodimus, Kron, and Starscream? Oh, are you talking about the Combiner Wars cartoon that was just recently out? We don't acknowledge that. we don't acknowledge that cartoon as actually happening. That was that whole series doesn't count. none of that counts. I mean, Rodimus Unicronus and Rodimus Kron, that whole thing. I mean, he just killed everybody. That was just oh. You're not going to find many longtime Transformers fans who are fans of that. I thought it looked the premise seemed okay. I just don't think they gave it enough time to develop the stories. They were just way too short. They were way too short that it was. So yeah. So no, I don't acknowledge the whole Prime Wars trilogy cartoon. Yeah, bad comedy, except that it wasn't really comedy, but yes, nice use of one of the Transformers phrases there, Big Bronze Rim. Yeah, he's saying that too. That cartoon doesn't count because it's not canon. Well, here's the thing about canon: there is no one Transformers story. Marvel fans and probably DC fans and stuff like that, they'll let you know there's a multiverse out there. G1 is its own story. Bayformers is its own story. It doesn't have to be G1. The Prime Wars trilogy is its own story. It doesn't have to be like all of the other ones. I mean, the drawback is that is where we saw Victorion and Volcanicus and stuff like that. But But Transformers Prime is its own story, and it did kind of roll into Robots in Disguise 2015. So that does kind of, and they do have kind of an aligned continuity. And I saw some chat early before the stream where they're talking about the Fall of Cybertron and War for Cybertron games, which is kind of also that aligned continuity, which does, officially relate to the Transformers Prime story. And somebody said, if you think it goes in there, you're dead to me, or something like that. And well, yeah, I don't like to think of Transformers Prime as being part of that, but I mean, technically it is. So yes, there's a lot of different continuities, and they're all different. Transformers Animated is another one that's completely different. Familiar looking characters, same names, similar personalities. Even the whole IDW continuity is its own continuity. But some of them are good, some of them are not so good. Cyberverse is the newest one. In fact, season 2, I think, of Cyberverse has recently come out. So that's all a new continuity. That's what keeps Transformers relevant. New stuff comes out, and sometimes things are based on existing storylines, and sometimes they're just brand new storylines. And so sometimes they hit it out of the park, like with Transformers Prime and Animated, and sometimes it's a swing and a miss, like the Prime Wars trilogy. So, and oh goodness, would you look at that time? This has been fun, guys. I do appreciate you hanging out with me and chatting about all this stuff and throwing the questions. Sorry about the drama. I said I'm going to be looking for some mods, and I'll probably be trying to hit you guys up, because I said I was going to do that and I didn't yet. But I like Larkin's comment there. The only continuity I have is the one in my head, and there you go. That's really the one that makes most sense. Not everybody has to like everything. There's plenty of people who like G1 and don't like Bayformers, and there's plenty of people that are absolutely the opposite. And to be perfectly honest, the reason why a lot of people like G1 is because of the nostalgia factor. If you go back and actually watch it, some of it's pretty silly, and it is obviously riddled with errors. But because it takes you back to your childhood, if that was part of your childhood, that's why we love it so much. And yeah, so there you go. All right, guys, I do appreciate everybody stopping by, and we're here every Wednesday at 8 p.m. If you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and come back and be notified. And when we go live, post another video or anything like that. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. I'm Engineer Hoist. Keep rolling, my friends, and we'll see you next time.